Monday morning's big question. Liverpool defeated Manchester City 2-0 and perhaps planted their flag as the league leaders on their way to a league championship. Is the title race over, Jason, here in the beginning of December?
I'm a guy that considers all possibilities. I'm not quite like one of those sci-fi characters that can see all the futures happening at once. That's not quite my power, but I like to consider all possibilities. I don't love making declarative statements about things that can change, especially when we have so much time left in the season. But yeah, the race is over. This is over. Rob, it's over. No, how can you watch what you just saw at Anfield? Consider the gap now. Rodri's not walking through that door. He's not playing next week, right? And yes, you could consider what the fixture list looks like for City, because if they've got easier games, they can make up some. Well, they can collect points, but of course, it's not just about Manchester City. It's also about Liverpool, and whether Liverpool is going to be going through any sort of dip that would allow for them to drop the points that City then needs to make up in order to close this and go for the title. And I don't need to remind you, because I'm sure you've looked at the table like 12 times this morning already. City is level with Chelsea in everything. Is Chelsea going to finish above City in the table?
You wouldn't
I
think so. You
think
wouldn't think so.
maybe. I think it's a very distinct possibility. I mean, look at the trends. Just look at the way these things are trending. And yes, things can things can change dramatically and quickly. City could figure it out. Again, one good performance means that they could get their mojo back. But I don't buy into all of the crazy narratives. We were talking about headlines around Pep and the six fingers and all of that. Jonathan Liu writing at The Guardian, Pep Guardiola left grasping at air as his once impregnable dynasty falls apart. I mean, how dramatic is that headline? I mean, this is like Game of Thrones stuff. Like your dynasty, your empire is crumbling. Is that what's happening here, or is this just a bad moment for City? That's the
The
big question.
the English empire may be crumbling, but they still have headline writing locked in. At least that's good over there. So, as a Liverpool fan, I mean, obviously, Cloud Nine. This is amazing. The transition from Klopp to Schlatt couldn't have gone really any better.
No.
But my entire life, I've dealt with multiple Terminators. No matter what, Manchester United never out of it. And then for the last 10 years or so, Manchester City never out of it. You blow off their leg, they regrow another one. They just never give up, never die. So looking in biggest league comebacks, and especially at this stage, it's wild. Probably 8 out of the 10 biggest league comebacks were Manchester United. But the biggest league comeback, Arsenal 97-98, overcame a 13-point Manchester United lead in December. I think that was mid-December. 92-93, Man U came back from 12 to beat Norwich. It shows how
Oh
times have
wow.
changed. They overcame Norwich. They had a 12-point deficit. That was the season that Eric Cantona came on the scene. Leeds let Eric Cantona go, and history played out in favor of Man U. And then the most probably famous league comeback is Manchester United 95-96, came back from 12 points in mid to late January to overcome Newcastle. So there's plenty of precedent of this sort of lead being overcome. Whether anyone in this pack will do it, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm on cloud nine. The world had to crumble for my Lions and Liverpool to be the best teams in their respective sports. Everything else might be crap, but at least I have the best two teams to support. But I mean, I'm not going to get out over my skis, but it's really exciting. I think the question really is, and I've already heard the question kind of turn. You already overlooked them. Is City still the main rival, or is it Arsenal to overcome Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal's already had their rough patch, right? They
Yeah, well, they
already
win out
had.
here. Who knows?
They've had a rough patch. The question is, can they avoid another one? Because if you have another one, it's
Done so.
over.
Yeah.
It's over. All right. Okay. So again, I misstated what I was talking about going into the weekend. I guess Chelsea and City were right there. Obviously, Arsenal now second place on the 25 points, which is the 9-point gap, along with Chelsea. City is actually further back. Right, for them it's 11. By the way, should mention Brighton's in fourth. I mean, I know we've had this weird season where Forest has been there and Forest still in sixth place. All those things. Um, I just don't. I just Liverpool feel like a team with a new manager, right? So Arne Slot in his first run as a Premier League manager at a club with this sort of microscope and attention and spotlight they come at Liverpool, there could be some negative things that happen. I'm not going to deny that that's a possibility. He might not always look this happy at Liverpool, but they feel like a team that is has been hardened by the battles that they've had with City over the last couple of years, and feel like a complete team. Now you could pick things about their squad and say, well, they're not quite there here, or they're not quite there, or they don't have the depth necessary to fight on all fronts and just, boss everything. But perfection's not possible. And we've already seen Arsenal has significant issues, particularly when they're missing pieces like Odegaard. Chelsea is still a young team trying to figure it out with a first-time big club manager in Moretzka, who's doing a very, very good job.
Yeah.
But I don't think that everybody thinks of them as a complete unit, right? They're not they haven't evolved in that Pokemon way. They haven't evolved into their final form yet, right?
They're a basic, yeah.
Brighton is a trier and doing great. And that's another young coach, another first-time Premier League coach who's doing great work. But we all get the sense they're going to drift. I mean, nothing's guaranteed here, and they could surprise everybody. But I don't think anybody really has Brighton as a title-winning team. City has been hardened like Liverpool, but missing so many pieces, injuries just absolutely battering them. Now their manager's losing the plot over being chanted at Anfield. No. And then there's nobody else. Forest, Spurs, no. Brentford, I mean, we're going way down the table. We're 14 points back now, and those teams are not coming out. It's nobody but Liverpool. Like, even if it ends up being 3 or 4 points in the end, they will win this title, Rob. They will win this title.
You sent shivers down my legs there. I mean, I'd like to dream like that, but I've had too many heartbreaks to get that confident. But it is brilliant to see the transition going so well. I mean, this is going from like a Pep to Jose Enrique or Jose Enrique. Yeah, I mean, Barcelona went from strength to strength back in that big transition. And when back in the spring, when Jurgen Klopp said, and his farewell game, he's like, you got to get back the new manager, and he started the song for Schlott. And that made me very nervous because I had the pangs of Alex Ferguson saying the same for David Moyes. And that did not go well. So the transition has gone, way better than anyone on the red side of Merseyside could have ever possibly imagined. But I like what you said about the battle hardened. They almost had we're not letting that happen sort of a mentality. It's not as emotional up and down, at least yet. Most of the time when Klopp's teams had trouble, it was in January, February, like early spring, like the wear and tear of the December and the FA Cup and all that really it took a toll on those teams. And so their dip would happen January, February, when Manchester City basically in the last like half a dozen years have just won every single game in the second half of the season. So if there's ever going to be a potential dip, it's coming.
Yeah, and again, I understand there's some historical context to it. Could be not always this great for Liverpool. And they still have the Champions League, and there are things that could bring them down. But again, with the gap where it is, because I'm considering the teams chasing. It's not just about Liverpool, and if Liverpool has a blip. Liverpool was battling City for those titles, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Manchester City at its peak, at its height, under Pep Guardiola, doing everything, just. They felt like, and I think I made this comparison before, they felt like the Russians in hockey before Lake Placid. Okay, like
untouchable.
Not like they're completely unbeatable, but they're the best, and everybody knows they're the best. It's just a matter of whether or not they're fully engaged and have all their pieces together. And then they're gonna you can't tell me with City's 11 points back. That is so big a number when we're talking about teams that are going to drop 4 or 5 points, 6 points. I mean, what's the maximum here? You can imagine Liverpool dropping between now and the end of this. I mean, I don't know. It just feels like the bridge is too far for City. And then I have to consider the other contenders. Arsenal is imperfect. Chelsea is clearly imperfect. That's it. That's the list. Liverpool wins the title.
Wow. Wow. You can put a little bit of wind up my skirt there. You got me feeling confident. I mean, 11-point lead here in January. One of the comebacks I omitted at the top of the segment was the 10 points in late December that City came back on Liverpool in 18-19. But to your point, that was a different Manchester City. So maybe I should, but like the Lions, I am just enjoying the win at a time. These are, I keep on seeing the meme. What if these are the good old days? So I'm enjoying it the right here, right now, the one game at a time. Just enjoy the wins as they come. All the rest, you, me, and all the other commenters, the outside noise saying it's over. But at the same time, you'll be the guy in like May saying, they got a little ahead of themselves.
I won't be doing that.
The season's not over in December.
I will be saying what a fool I was when we pull up this clip of me saying that the title race was over the second day of December when we have so much soccer left to play. Like, that would be 13 matches played, and I'm sitting here calling this race over. This might just be hot takery run amok. Could be that, Rob. I'll fully admit it's possible that I've fallen into a trap of hot takery.
Hot takery run amok. But okay, what do you say to this? Mike Thomas, obviously a lover of Major League Soccer, but he's saying that it's meaningless, saying that the season is wrapped before Christmas. Do you put any stock into that? I mean, the Premier League is basically filled with enough teams to make an MLS Cup bracket, right?
Yeah, I know. Mike rather is having a little bit of fun with this. I don't like doing that thing where we're constantly judging the format in comparison to other competitions. Like, they call it a lift and a lorry. We call it an elevator and a truck. They do their titles this way. We do our titles with playoffs. Whatever. It's just to each their own.
Whatever you do, don't call a popsicle an ice lolly. That's one of my least favorite
you don't like
Englishism. Ice lolly?
Okay. I that's terrible. I don't know what an ice lolly is.
It's a popsicle.
Okay, it's a popsicle. I will say this, as a Fulham fan, sitting dead mid-table, and would be fine if that's where we finished, that's a hard thing for me to accept, right? Oh, if we finish 10th, I'll be happy. Why? The American sports fan in me is yelling at the English football fan in me saying, why would you be happy with 10th, you moron? Like, what is that about? Suddenly you're okay with being mid-table just because your club doesn't have the same money as Liverpool and City and Arsenal? Like, that is something to Mike's point about, what is there to play for if you're Bournemouth now?
For perspective on that, we need to get a Vanderbilt college football fan on the line and see if finishing mid-table in the SEC is something that they enjoy. Do they just enjoy a good day out? Yeah, I mean, your mid-table team defeated or drew with 10 men and all those things. You're just rooting for good days out if you're below the top 6.
That's
I guess.
Right.
Eh?
It's about the individual experience. Like, hey, if we can beat a City and Arsenal or Liverpool one time a season, okay, everything is, and obviously not be relegated. Everything is fine. Now, I don't think Fulham fans are going to be pulling the goal out of the ground to drop it in the Thames if they beat City at Craven Cottage the way that Vanderbilt fans took the goalposts and took them to the river, right? That is a bit of a difference here. And obviously college kids were involved, so there's that too.
Well, does the one thing that Fulham they don't get to go to the Chick-fil-A popcorn bowl or whatever at the end of the season.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe English football clubs should have bowl games at the end of the season.
The Bovril Bowl.
To celebrate finishing decently mid-table. And yes, and Jenny behind the scenes has said they should take the goal and drop it in the Thames. They should do that. They won't. They should do that. Wouldn't that be awesome? We should absolutely do cultural exchange and get all those English football fans who are, they're so notorious for being calm and respectful in all moments. English football fans, please start throwing goals into rivers. Please do that.
Yeah, wild weekend in sports, really. I mean, lots of fights and bench clearings and all sorts going on, but I don't think there was too many overseas. Actually, no, wasn't there a big melee in the West Ham Arsenal? I saw some fighting going
I
on
didn't
there.
catch that
So
one. Did the two London clubs get into it? Were they arguing over?
yeah, I think mid game there was some. I think West Ham give them an excuse to turn on the mitts rather than watching the game. I think some folks within the firm type of groups might do that. But that speculation aside, I think our morning's been kicked around. What do you think, Jason?
We kicked it, or it kicked us. I can't tell which, but we're done.
All right. Follow us along, like and subscribe. Morning Kick Around on YouTube. And then follow us along on X, Instagram, and now Blue Sky M Kick Around on all those social media platforms. Thank you for your comments. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to follow along and enjoy your soccer until we're back. Everybody, enjoy your days, enjoy your soccer.